All right, gentlemen, it is Super Bowl week, even though it's this week in base hit. So, wanted to celebrate Super Bowl licks, I think is what it is. I'm not sure. Super Bowl licks is here. And as I'm sure we're all excited about, the Chiefs are there. Finally, the ball has bounced their way. Finally. And then the Eagles, who have the best, most well behaved fans in the country. Clone, how you feeling about the Super Bowl?
Let me first apologize because I'm going to sound sick. And if I cough on this call, I apologize. I'm recovering from sickness, but whatever else. Super Bowl. I've got some pools that I'm in, and that is all I need to make me care about it. And that's about it. Although I also am a Jalen Hurts fan, so I'm excited about I'll be rooting for him just from the Alabama connection. He's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because remind me, wasn't that like back in the day? It seems so crazy now, but wasn't there like a quarterback controversy between him and Tua at one point at
He
Alabama?
got pulled out of the championship game. You don't remember? It's one of the most
Yeah,
iconic.
yeah,
He was struggling in the championship game against Georgia, and he got pulled at halftime
and
for
Tua came
Tua,
in, right?
and after he had played all season,
Oh,
and seemed crazy, and it worked out. And but that was not, they needed a spark, whatever else. The way that the team was playing, it was the right move for the right time. But he's gotten better since then, and yeah, he's just awesome. But and he also acted amazing about it. Like I know that was like demoralizing, but he stayed with. I mean, imagine right now how fast you would expect players to be gone, and he stayed the whole next year. And
yep.
he ended up, and then they reversed it, and he came in and covered for Tua in the SEC championship game the next time.
When
Anyway,
Tua
you're
got
getting me
hurt,
too
right?
excited. People don't want to hear about Alabama. Sorry.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's awesome. And the Chiefs, as everybody knows, going for the first three-peat since the Green Bay Packers did it in the AFC NFC Championship game and Super Bowls one and two, because it effectively was the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just wasn't called that. Um, uh, and so I am actively rooting against the Chiefs just for that reason. So go Philadelphia, because I don't know if you know, but the Packers got one for the thumb. And if you include the AFC, look at all those beautiful look at all that beauty. That's and you know that Brett Favre Super Bowl. There's the trophy right there,
Oh my
signed by
God,
Brett Favre.
that's awesome.
Yep, this is one of the replicas that they made of Super Bowl uh, porn eye. I think it is
They give
XXXI. I'm not sure what that
they
means,
give
but
it to all the owners. Did you get it because you're an owner?
I did not get it because I was an owner, but I got it signed at a Brett Favre. You buy the replica, which is heavy. I mean, this thing's probably if it's probably 18, 20 pounds. Like it's
Yeah.
super heavy. You buy this and then you stand in line and get Favre to
Got
sign
it.
it.
My
Back,
reference to you being an owner, by the way, is that you own shares,
yeah.
like all the owners that got their share. Like,
I've been thinking a lot about that this week. So, for those of you that don't know, the Packers are the only publicly owned team, and you can buy non-voting shares. And so, like a big thing in Wisconsin is everybody owns a share of the Packers. You give them away as gifts and whatnot. But in a future episode, we're not going to talk about it today. I want to deep dive because Russ and I had a or Clone and I had a conversation this week about the finances of baseball. And a lot of it is kind of opaque because these are all privately held LLCs. But the one window that we have into it in all of sports is the Packers financials are completely public. And so I went down a rabbit hole after our conversation and really want to get into like how the Dodgers are able to do what they're doing and why other teams can't do it, even though every stupid YouTuber that doesn't know how business works says, well, anybody can defer money and anybody can do this and everybody, they can't. The Dodgers have broken the code in a way that nobody else has for a variety of reasons that have come together that have made the Dodgers, like them or not, the most well-run franchise in all of sports, and we're going to see that for the next 10 years. But
All
that's
right,
for a
we
future
covered
episode.
Alabama and we covered the Dodgers. Who else can everybody hates can we talk
We
about?
let's talk about Cooper Flag at Duke, just so we can talk about this generation's Christian Laettner.
That's a good one.
Oh, I could go down the rabbit hole of the relationship between him and Christian Laettner, but we'll do that in a
Yeah, I
different.
don't know enough about that.
Oh yeah.
No,
Well, they
I
were both the 18-year-olds that played with the USA team, and they both went to Duke,
oh,
and they're
that's a
both
good call.
not liked.
Good, that's a good call.
All right,
Uh,
so we'll
we were
stop
having that
there.
Dodger
Yeah,
conversation, but I was
yeah,
having that conversation earlier today about because this was a discussion of run differential versus wins because I've got a team right now that is in last place in the division, uh, like not anywhere close, like 17 games under 500, and I have a positive run differential, like
yep.
plus 15, which stuck out. And Rent went digging because he's got excellent data on this, and it is like an aberration. Like it's one of the worst differences between, if you pay attention, right, there's the Pythagorean expected wins based on run differential, going back to Bill James, whatever. I've already used up all my information on that. But it's so like I don't know if it was bad luck or whatever, but it happened to me 2 seasons ago too. So then I was trying to figure out is it really bad luck or is there something to learn from that? But really, that just made me think about luck in the game and whatever else because we've also had that also came up recently because we had a couple of new owners that were getting frustrated because of bad starts, right? Um,
Well,
and
one was upset because he made the playoffs. He just thought he should be even better. But
yeah,
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 yeah. But
but
I
there were
mean,
certain games, yeah.
he didn't understand the streakiness of well, I was going to say the game, but really just of large mathematical probability simulations. It just shit happens.
Well, that seems obvious to me. And then, but for some reason, this happens to me 2 years out of three where I have
Yeah,
the differential, and then I'm like trying to find an answer when really probably the answer is luck, bad luck.
yeah.
Like, yeah, when you have good luck, you don't go digging as much for why it happened. You're just like, oh, yeah, I made some
I'm
great
the
choices.
best.
I just made some great choices,
Yep.
but yeah, and I had said to that owner, I mean, specifically that's inherent to baseball, right? And I don't know if you call it luck or not, but teams are, it's just the nature of baseball that the best teams win 60% of the time. And, playoff teams win. The Tigers this season won 53% of the time. I mean, that's a lot of
That's a lot of losses for
things.
being one of the better teams.
Yep. And things
Yeah.
can break either way.
Well, and football is the game of inches, but baseball is fundamentally not that different. Like when you watch a baseball game, one diving stop by a shortstop that prevents one hit, which prevents or creates one hit, which prevents one out, or vice versa, could turn the entire game upside down. And that's why, like when you look at like and the guy on the forums was talking about tinkering. I actually think that's a thing that will serve him well in more competitive leagues because the more competitive it gets, the more attention you pay to the small things matter more. You have a 71 range left fielder versus a 58 range left fielder. It's not going to matter 99% of the time. But the 1% of the time it does matter, it takes away a hit that could create a win. And the wins above replacements for a left fielder defensively are less than one, right? But it does matter in the grand scheme of things. So I think if when in doubt, zoom out. And so if you're focused on a
That's it
narrow,
right there.
yeah, if you're focused on a narrow window of things that don't make sense to you, when you zoom out and you made the playoffs, that's probably wise because you're spending a lot of time focused on your team. And so I think you should turn that negativity into like problem solving because you're on the right track already. You just keep learning.
Yeah. I mean, zoom out. Yeah. Just to turn, I mean, we all know like short sample size, like at the beginning of a season, you're going to have guys in your team that are on pace to hit 120 home runs, or you're going to have guys that look like total bums, and then it does even out. And that's part of baseball,
Yep.
too, that there's just so many games, so that it generally is going to work out over time where you're generally gonna, yeah, if you're tinkering, that's where again, luck. Sometimes it feels like all luck, but
But it's not really lucky. It's really just probabilities. And the beautiful thing about baseball, and those that played Stratomatic as a kid or something like it can understand this uniquely, is baseball is the one sport where there's a one-on-one interaction, either with a player versus player or a player with the ball, and it happens linearly. There's how you hold the ball, throw the ball, the contact, where it goes, the interaction with the fielder and the ball. It's all just very linear. And in every one of those cases, there's a probability of success or failure every single time. So you're rolling the dice for every probability. And there's really like the chaos theory of baseball that in the aggregate, it's going to come out to a set of probabilities that are still on a spectrum, but make sense. And you limit that spectrum by your skill level, and your skill level will make that spectrum go left or right. But you don't get exposed to the entire spectrum. So like the
pretty
delineation,
good.
there's going to be chaos and streaks and bad and good luck, all based on the probabilities. But at the end of the day, the only thing you can affect is your skill level, moving that spectrum as far towards the success
Let
side as
me,
possible.
I like the way that you said that. Let me pull this all together and go back to the Chiefs because we're talking about, the difference between baseball and other sport. So we were talking about the Dodgers this week, and they've been spending money and it's driving people crazy. But like, if you look at the odds, right, like still they have maybe 20% chance to win the World Series this year, and that's baseball. And like, no matter however much money they've added on after that, maybe it's moved it like 20.5%, but the odds are still, even if they're blowing people away, even if they're the greatest team,
Yeah.
the odds are against them repeating,
To
as
put that in
opposed to,
perspective. Oh, sorry.
and then
Sorry.
look at the Chiefs, who will never leave ever, and we can never move past it. But if you look at the ability for dynasties to keep going, I know it's been a while,
To
but
put it in perspective, the Dodgers won were uh, the the champions of COVID. But so I kind of throw that season out for the most part. But coming into 2022 and 2023, they had the same percentage chance of winning the World Series as they did coming into 2024. But they won it in 2024, right? So like 20% chance coming into 2025, who knows? The one thing I will say about the Dodgers is historically, somebody did a great analysis of this. I got to find it. We got to post it because it was so good about how free agent contracts typically don't work out. Like if you figure it on a dollar per dollar basis, like you are much better off taking the Brewers route than the Dodgers route, except once you get to the playoffs. Once you get to the playoffs, if the free agents are there, you are far and away like 80% to 20% chance of winning. So like the
yeah.
Brewers might have the best same chance as the Dodgers to get to the playoffs, but the Dodgers far and away have a much better chance of winning the World Series, which is a really weird to think about, but
Um, yeah, no, something in there got switched around on me, but I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
Uh, zooming back out just to the conversation of like it's all luck, which it's just
it's all
in
probabilities. Quit saying
it's
luck.
it's
We
all
gotta say luck.
probabilities, and also in base, and those probabilities in baseball are tighter.
They
I mean,
show as luck.
there's probabilities in other sports too, but the margins are tighter, and if you're a new owner that's playing and you're struggling, or if you have a bad streak that seems to not match up with what you expect from your team, or specifically like if you're looking at one game, be like, how could I possibly have lost to these bozos? Like you're gonna find lots of that. But yeah, over time, if you're doing the right things, you will start to rise to the top, definitely. You'll start to see the patterns of people that know what they're doing, as opposed to people that, that are just riding the luck. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just add to that, like, and just so anybody that's listening that's uh thinking, well, they might just have a Dunning-Kruger effect because like it's their game, so they feel like it's definitely not the game. It's not that. It's because I've only owned the game for a couple of years, but I played it since 2004, and this game has simmed 50 million sims. It's filmed 100 simmed 115 Major League Baseball lifetimes. And over that time, we can see from the data that it all does work out towards the original era that the game was modeled after, that the data does work out that way. That doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean like all the logic is perfect or anything like that. But overall, in the summation, it does work like it's supposed to. And so like we're just keeping that in mind when we experience our own bad luck based on the probabilities. That is the shit happens
And
situation.
yeah. And
Because
if
I mean, I had
if
a
you learn
team.
how to play the game, it's going to pay off over time. You're going to have to struggle through some bad
uh,
rolls of the dice, some bad whatever else.
Yeah, I'm in
But
a league right now that there's a team that had a 110 win and 120 win season back to back, and they lost in the dip. Oh, well, that's a very unfortunate time for balloons to
that's a
show up.
sign. That's a
Uh,
sign.
but
That was perfect.
they lost in a divisional series to like an 87 win team both seasons, and it's like, that is just them's the breaks, you know.
Zoom is mocking you for 120 wins.
How did I do that
Congratulations.
like
That was
this?
awesome.
I don't
All
know.
right, man. I think we covered this one good.
There. All right. We got confetti. Those are great.
If
All
you're
right.
listening to this audio wise, you're missing the visuals that are
Missing the
showing up on.
hijinks. Yeah. That's all right. All right. We're gonna leave it there. All right.
Yeah.
So real quick, Super Bowl, what's the score? How's it finish? I'm totally putting you on the spot. Didn't tell you I was gonna do
Well, I'm rooting for the Eagles, so I believe that the Chiefs will win.
that.
uh, and I think they will win. Shit, man. 27-17.
This is for the thumbnail.
Very nice.
27-17.
Yep.
You think the Chiefs are gonna win 27-17?
Yeah, the number I have not thought of. I definitely believe that the Chiefs will get it.
Well, I
But
know the answer to this for sure. For sure. So book it. So feel free to bet on it. Take out a mortgage on your house, bet your babies. 34-28 Eagles over the Chiefs. And if you
uh,
lose it all, I'm not responsible because I'm just making this up.
please don't bet your baby.
Don't bet your baby. All right. That's this week in Base Hit. Hope everybody enjoys the Super Bowl. Until next time, we are out of here.